righty, everybody. Welcome to episode 8. It's Jason Michaels TV coming to you from Nashville, Tennessee. This is the show that combines inspiration with entertainment, and I have a good show for you scheduled today. I've got a couple of friends of mine who are my guests who we're going to do a little interview with. We're going to learn all about them and what they do, where they've done it. I met them in 2016. We became fast friends, and we'll tell you sort of all about that little story. They are it's an amazing team. Christian and Katalina. We're going to learn who Christian and Katalina are. We're going to learn what they do, where they do it, how you can see them, how they're dealing with COVID-19, and we're going to even see a highlight from what they do, which will be surprising to them because they don't know we're doing that, but that'll be all right. So we're gonna get into that in a second, but I want to introduce them to you right now because they are awesome people and good friends of mine. Let's bring them in. Christian and Katalina, hello.
All right.
This will be surprising, Jason, because we didn't know what you were going to do. So.
That's right, exactly.
But wait, I have to point out your shirt, though. I love it. Guantanamo Bay. Come on, it's perfect.
Thank you. I was thinking about you guys when I put it on today. I was like, you know what, this makes perfect sense. I actually have a photograph or two from that, and we'll tell a story. We'll tell a story or two from that trip where I got sick and you guys.
Yes.
Yeah, you remember that. So thanks for joining me. I always like to kind of at the beginning of the show, I like to let people get to know the folks that we're talking to so they kind of understand who they are and why we're talking to them and you know what their perspective is and stuff like that. So to sort of start the show off, I want to introduce to you guys. Basically, we met because in 2016, Stephen Bargatze introduced me to you guys and you guys to me, and we started traveling around the world doing shows for men, women, and families who are deployed in military bases, and that includes shows, but it also includes unit visits where you get to meet the different people when they're actually working. And so what I thought I would do is I would show a little tiny short clip so they can get an idea for who you guys are and what you do. Cool? Are we cool with that?
Do it.
All right, here we go. So we're going to take a good look at who these guys are and what they do. This is actually on an Army ship. You didn't know they had ships in the Army, but check this out. Watch closely. I think you guys will enjoy this clip.
Now that made my life easy. She's in town. I'll show you how that works. All you have to do is pull out a card. Now wait, you'll see her.
You choose any card you want, but please don't say it out loud. Okay, I'm gonna turn my back. I don't want to.
Turning her back.
Yeah.
Pull one out. Okay, great. Tell her that card in your mind.
Focus on it, Specialist Smith. Just that card, not the. Oh wait, that's a red card. That is a heart. Oh, is that the Queen of Hearts?
Yes. Yeah. No, I know that was weird.
Thank you.
That was weird. So we'll do it one more time to the chief engineer. Oh, good. Same thing. There we go. Catalina's back.
I mean, don't say it, but choose anyone you like, just like Specialist Smith. Okay.
Okay. Can you ask her?
Focus on it. Just that card, nothing else. Oh wait, that is a curved number. That's a 3. Was that the 3 of hearts?
Wow.
Yes, it is.
Thank you. That was awesome.
Now.
Wait, I'm loving your face.
All right, here we go.
He is
Just,
dying.
you know what? No. We'll get rid of the cards. All right. So, Carter. All right. What I want you to do is pull me some out of your pocket.
All right, don't say it,
Hand
Carter.
it to me.
Don't jiggle some keys either, because I can hear
All right.
that.
What do you give me? I want you to hold it.
Just focus on that object. Let's see. Oh, you know what? I seen the Apple logo. This is your iPhone, right?
Now, let's take it one step further. Go to it like you're going to dial somebody. And then let's put in a 3-digit number.
Choose any 3 digits you like. Just don't
I'm
say the
going to
numbers.
ask you, does that mean anything to you?
No.
Okay. This will be interesting. Say it in your mind.
You know what? This is very interesting. He likes patterns because this is, I'm definitely seeing a pattern like a 369.
All right, so that is what they do. So let's be honest from the very beginning. Don't we love doing unit visits? Isn't that like part of the most fun of
Oh,
what
we
we get
love
to do?
Unibus. They are the best. And it's funny watching that again, because at first they're like, what is going on? Who are these people? And then they're like, wait a minute, what just happened? Which is the perfect reaction. That's exactly what they want. So I love it. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's exactly what we want. Yeah.
and it's so much fun because they're just going about their everyday, they have the jobs to do every day. And so they, different units understand that we're coming to visit, but what does that even mean to them? It's like, oh, they're probably thinking in their head, we have to, tell these people who we are and entertain them. And then we go in there and make them laugh and smile.
Yeah, it's definitely reciprocal between both of us. I mean, we get so much out of it, but we also give back to them because we want them to, enjoy their day and let us show them a little bit something special that they don't get to see every day. And sometimes they're working, so they can't come and see the show. So this is the only entertainment they're going to get is when we come and visit them. So,
Right.
Yeah, it's perfect all around.
So tell us, I've seen you guys work, and just from seeing that little tiny clip, I've seen you work in all sorts of settings. You can literally work anywhere. I've seen you work in a big theater. I've seen you work in a small setting like that. They could put us in a tight quartered club, and you guys have such a unique style, such a unique way of doing what you do. I mean, you call your show the mind tripping show. I think it's the mind smashing show because you destroyed. I mean, the audience don't even know what to think. How did you develop this style?
I think it's because it took us a while to figure out who we were.
Okay.
And once we just said, well, we're married, we're done here. And we just said, we're going to be a married couple. If a married couple had powers, what would it be like? And then we had fun with that. So we play off each other a lot with the marriage thing. And that was our style. That's how we kind of figured it out.
That's great. That's great. So, and I know your story because I know you guys really well. I know that you both served, you both have military service backgrounds. And so I want to learn a little bit more about that, but tell me why, why there, maybe you have certain highlights or if it means something in particular to you when you go and get to see these men and women who are serving currently and you get to make them laugh and smile. What I would think, I'm guessing, but it's not much of a stretch. I would think this means something extra special to you as opposed to somebody who hasn't served.
Well, I think we probably both, yes, because we understand what it's like to serve. I mean, both of us were in the Army. So going back is like going back to family.
Yeah.
I mean, look, the stuff we learned in the military is what shaped our lives and, who we are and what we do and how we were able to transition from the military to what we do now, because that's not a normal transition. But the skills that you learned in the military definitely helped us to be successful in what we do now. And for us, it's just a joy to go back and be with the soldiers. And I mean,
and so people understand, I was in for 20 and you were in for 10. So it wasn't a small amount of time. We were in the military for a long time.
Yeah, that's a career.
I remember, in fact, many years ago, I was sitting in the NCO club and I'd gotten off a long shift. I was sitting there and, we have some entertainment at the NCO club. Okay. So I grabbed my drink and I sat down and I didn't expect much. And it was a bunch of comedians who were doing improv. And I almost peed my pants that night. It was so much fun. And now I think back on that and now I'm doing what those guys did so many years ago that made me laugh. And so I remember that feeling I had that night at the club, and I try to remember that's what these guys are hoping for.
Yeah.
But
I don't even know. Do they even know what to expect at the beginning? They're probably just like, I hope they're good.
I think you're right on that. What a lot of people think is when they think about us going out on military tours, it must be so fun and easy and great. And it is fun and great, but it's not as easy as you imagine because you're walking to where they work. And that's not an area where people are ready to have fun. You and I know we've walked into tents and areas where we just got to make it work. And you've got to change their attitude from, I've been on shift for 12 hours. I'm tired. I haven't seen my family. I haven't been, in the United States in 9 months. And now we've got to turn this into a fun environment. And And it takes them a moment to switch over to like, oh, wait a minute, these guys are fun. They are here to give us some joy. Mm-hmm. And so you have those moments that you're pushing forward and you're not sure when is that switch going to change for them. And they're going to go, oh, okay, this is fun.
Oh,
well,
absolutely.
It is tough because some of them are 24-hour shifts and they're working a 12-hour shift. So they are mission focused. And so they can't always, be there as an audience for us that we would love. But as much, we only do what we can do. And so we're out there, we're, try and give them a little bit, of, like you said, fun and just a little bit of laughter and amazement. And hopefully, that might help them for a little bit anyway, just to get their thoughts away from work.
Well, I think, yeah, certainly. I mean, if we look back and we think about what we just saw in that video clip, I think it's fair to say that at the beginning, you can even see like in the way that some of them are standing, there's like a little bit, number one, they're, like you said, they're very mission focused. They have a job to do. I'm here to do this job. And then we come in and say, hey, we're going to entertain you for a few minutes. And not only are we going to entertain you, we're going to entertain you with magic and mind reading and all sorts of stuff. So that is a critical type of thing too, where there's automatically like a little bit of, I'm going to try to figure this out. So you have to find a way to break that wall down.
Yes.
But I think we're all good. Like, we're good at making them laugh and enjoy it. And it's not a challenge. So it's not us against them. It's, hey, let's all have some fun together and let's laugh about this and all enjoy life together for a few minutes. So I think we all do well at that.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. No. It's certainly designed to be fun. There's no question about that. It's just, it's a unique type of an atmosphere.
I like, a good way to put, to give perspective to what we do when we go on these tours is, and you remember this day, we were getting ready to fly into Iraq in a C-130. So for people who have never been in the military, you're walking into a transport plane. It doesn't have seats like what you think of in a military plane. They're just fold down lawn chairs, basically. Yeah, and you sit on the side. And while we were waiting, they brought in a pallet of human blood. And so that's a little wake-up call for people. Like, what? A whole pallet of blood? And then followed by 3 pallets of ammunition. Yep. Okay, we're flying into Iraq now.
Yep.
And, if you haven't been in that situation, that could be startling for many people. Mm-hmm. So for us, it's fun. And we understand it having been in the military. But if you haven't been in the military, it can be shocking. And I think sometimes people understand, they think it's all fun and games what we do. But, we've been in some places where, think about Djibouti. And we're living in those
shipping containers.
Shipping containers. Our room is a shipping container.
It's actually half of a shipping container. They cut it in half.
Well, I think you can't expect most people who, look, one, the percentage of people who have served is very small. Yeah. Okay, as far as the U.S. population goes. And 2, people don't understand what the conditions are like and what the troops have to go through unless they either hear it from a family member or a friend, or they've been there, or, someone tells them what it's all about. So, yeah, I think a lot of Americans would be surprised to hear what the soldiers and sailors and Marines are going through and the conditions they have to live in some of these places.
Oh, yeah. It brings a new perspective when people say thank you for your service. It's like being able to go and see what that service really looks like. And I'm, you and I mean, you've been there, but me personally, I'm only in these places for at most a couple of days. So I don't really know what it's like, but I get a tiny little taste of the environment and it's like, wow, okay, I can, and sometimes it's very stark, but it just depends on where you are in the world and what the mission is. So.
Yeah, that's true. And it's, think about when we were in Greenland, and that is a sad area to me that,
it's
but only you. This is his perspective, right? Some people love it, but you just thought it was very desolate and isolated.
We flew into there. There's no grass. There's nothing green is growing. Yep. It's rock and ice. Remember, we had to put on boots, or not boots, but like
well, we were at the muddy season. Remember when it was all mud and we had to have protective boots and stuff.
Yeah, we had to wear these cloth protective boots. Otherwise, you'd track mud in everywhere. And that was a pain. That was, oh, kind of cool. Day one. Day two, you're like, I'm already done with this. And and remember, we did the Top of the World Club there.
Yep.
And now you have to understand, for the people who don't know, you're inside the Arctic Circle. So wherever the Arctic Circle is, we're inside of that. And we were all laughing because we go to the club. We had to rearrange the entire club. Remember that?
Oh,
moving all the chairs and everything we had to do. Jason had to he had to get a bed sheet to use as a screen for your projection stuff. Yeah. And so you have to be on your toes to do all that stuff. But I just remember thinking, these poor guys and gals that are up here, I just can't imagine. And then we found out some people volunteer for this place. And I'm like, what is wrong with you?
There's some benefits to that, though.
There are benefits in a long run, but I was like, this is the last place on earth I want to be. I used to joke when I was in the Army. I said, if there's a war in like a cold area, just count me out. I'm not going to the Arctic Circle for fighting. No, just if it's not warm, forget it.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you recall this. So it's funny that we're talking about Thule. I figured we'd talk about a lot of stuff. I actually just, I captured an old blog post and reposted it on my current website about Thule. And I was reading through it as I was kind of redoing it, editing it a little bit. And I was reminded because what I wrote was that we basically couldn't even our point of contact was working with their sound guy, and it took an entire hour, literally like 60 seconds before the show. We still didn't even have microphones working. Yep, and somehow at the very last second, everything clicked on. So,
oh my goodness.
We talked about it before. You got to make do with what you have, and you do the best you can, and you adapt, and that's all we can do.
And here's another funny thing to think about Thule is, so Kat and I have been with you on enough tours. We tried 3 times to get to Thule, only made it once.
Yeah.
So that means you tried 4 times and made it twice.
Right.
So that's how hard it is to even get there.
Yeah, and there's all sorts of different reasons, but yes, it is. Yes, it's that's one of the places that you go. Well, if we make it, we'll have a good time.
They are appreciative too. We usually get great crowds, though. I mean, we had a blast, and you had a blast. So yeah.
If I remember correctly, they were extremely loud and just fun, and huge laughter and huge applause and all that type of stuff. It just what you're looking for when you're an entertainer. So tell me, so let's learn about what you guys. So, and we'll bounce around a little bit, and we'll talk, because I have some pictures from different tours that we've done, and we can talk about that type of stuff. But what you guys have done in your professional lives is rare. Not only you've worked in multiple markets, but you currently have a show that you perform that you've done for 10 solid years, and you have had a successful show in downtown Indianapolis. It's at a beautiful venue. It's at the Hilton, and you guys sell tickets, and like literally you do this throughout the entire year. People come, and you're like people are coming to see theater, a piece of magic theater, more or less. I've seen the show, so I know what it is. Am I describing it well?
Sure. Yeah, we love it. It's a public show that we used to do on the weekends, Friday and Saturday nights.
We used to do. Yeah.
I know. It's sad. We love it. Public show. And you're right. 10 years. We can't believe it either. When we first started this, we said we will go as long as people come to the show. And we'll continue doing it in Indianapolis if we get people that really want to see it. And we've been very fortunate that people have wanted to see it. And we'll get back to it. We will get back to it. It's just we have to wait a little bit. But we'll get back there.
Yeah. So the show came about quite simply because we used to tour doing the college market. And one year we were at Myrtle Beach, and it was just a break during the tour, and we had about 4 days off. And surprisingly, every year we would have the same break. We'd always be by Myrtle Beach. We would go to Myrtle Beach.
Always around Easter time.
Yeah. And we were, I remember on the 11th floor of this one hotel. I can't remember the name of the hotel, but I could find it. And we're sitting out on the balcony, and we're looking at the beach, and we're like, look at all those people. Because if you've been to Myrtle Beach, there's nothing, after you play putt-putt golf, there's nothing to do at night in Myrtle Beach. That's really, they have 1,700 putt-putt golf courses, but after that, you're done. And I told my wife, I said, why are we not entertaining here? And Catalina, first of all, we said it as a joke, but then it's really like, yeah, why aren't we? And the next thing I know, Catalina and I had put together a business plan, kind of an idea of what to do. It was only maybe 4 pages at the time. And Catalina went and had it printed off. And the next morning I said, well, let's go talk to the person here in the hotel and see if that's even possible. So biff, bam, boom, we go down and talk to the woman the next day, pitch it to her. And she goes, I love it. When can you guys start?
Yeah.
And so we were like, okay, that was weird. Weren't ready for that.
No, we didn't expect that she was just going to be on board right away. Okay.
Right.
So we said, okay,
that
that's
doesn't happen.
That doesn't happen. No, you're exactly right.
We said that was a weird fluke. I don't know what happened there. We had lunch that day and we said, let's walk down the street to a different hotel and do the same thing. So we walked down the street, got an appointment with, again, the activities director or whatever, sales director, and pitched it to her. And she starts taking us around. How about this room? Can you do this room? We're like, well, yeah. She goes, because this room's hard to fill with anything because it doesn't face the beach. So how about this one? I'm like, we could do it. She goes, great. When can you start? I think we're on to something.
Yeah.
And so and it was interesting how we got there because for about a year we did that where we went to resorts and performed at resorts. And then we said, maybe we can do it where we live in Indianapolis. And kind of the same thing happened. We took it to someone to kind of look over that plan. And she just said, who have you talked to? And we said, well, you're the first one because we kind of want to get an idea what you think. And she goes, I want you here. So whatever it takes, you're coming here. And that was it.
Well, yep. And she knew us from before because we'd done corporate events for her. And
Right.
so she was, obviously we knew her. That's why we thought we could throw the idea by her and see what she thought. And what we did find though, is in doing this and talking to resorts and hotels about it is people either understand the concept of what we're trying to do or they did not. Now, remember, this was 10 years ago, almost 11 years ago. So if they didn't get it, no amount of even having our business plan in front of them and showing them what we can do will change their mindset. But if they got the concept immediately, they're like, boom, I'm in. We can do this. Let's just figure out the details and make it happen. And luckily, the person at the Hilton, we love her. She's awesome. Got it.
But wait, I got to say this. It's true what Catalina is saying, but it was also what needs to be said is Catalina made an amazing presentation / business plan. So when we sat down with them, I mean, it was laid out so well with pictures and concepts and numbers that it was an easy. So like she said, either you were going to get it or you weren't, because her presentation wasn't just me talking. It was this great materials that you had assembled. And I want to make, for the people who are listening out there wondering, wow, gosh, I would like to do something like that. It's really a lot of prep before you walk in and just say stuff, because anyone could talk, but when you have the materials and someone can see you've taken the time and made this beautiful presentation, it changes their attitude.
Yeah. No, I mean, and what you're saying there is the thing that a lot of entertainers just don't realize, that there is an entire really deep business to the whole thing. I mean, there's the fun of doing the show, but that's really like the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
Well, why do they care about a show? How does that help them?
Yeah.
So if you haven't thought through on what they're benefiting from having you there, then don't even go in and talk to anybody. You've got to think through what they're getting out of this relationship and other stuff. But
so tell me, think on this, and do you have any like interesting stories about, I mean, I'm sure you have a million stories from people who have come to your show, whether it's just interesting people or based on what you do. Like after watching that video clip of you guys doing what you do, how many times do people come up to you and say, can you tell me the sex of my unborn child and stuff like, I mean, does that happen frequently?
all the time. No, it does.
Well, let's tell a very interesting story.
Which one?
We're going to tell the one when we were performing at a resort up in Wisconsin. So she'll remember in a moment.
I know what you're talking about.
We're doing a show up in Wisconsin, kind of like we do at our hotel now. And a guy had seen our show and he thought, wow, her mind reading is great. And so he said he saw us the next day at breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
And he started talking to us. He goes, hey, my daughter and son-in-law have a shop in this resort town here. Would you go in and mess with them? I said, sure, we'd love to. And he gave us so much information. And part of the information was she's pregnant and here's the sex of the baby.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, great. We have all this information. We'll go have fun with them. And so we were going out to put out our brochures and promo material anyway. So as we walked around town, we saw the shop, walked in, and they, of course, everybody asked us, what's this about? And we ended up giving a demonstration, kind of like you just saw in that video clip. And so we did it for them. We're like, wow, that was really neat. And then we go, all right, let's see if we can get more personal. And then we started doing personal, like we knew that they had gone on a trip the other weekend and where they went, and they're flipping out. And then Katalina goes, oh my goodness, you're pregnant. And they were stunned, but now you could see them getting nervous. So it's very interesting from a psychological standpoint. Like, it was all fun and games till we knew too much. And now they're getting really nervous. And then we tell them a few more things, and you can see they're getting more nervous. Then when Katalina goes, oh my goodness, it's a boy. They were now scared. They're absolutely scared. And now we're just going, how far do we push this? And we thought, well, before they have a nervous breakdown, we better tell them that their dad put us up to it. So they felt much more relieved. But it was still interesting to note how it goes from fun to kind of nervous to now I'm scared that you have this much power.
Wow.
So that was fun for us from a psychological standpoint. But yeah, and a fun story.
Wow. So so one of the reasons that I started doing this show was for the obvious reason that live entertainment, there is no live entertainment right now. And so I kind of said, well, what can I do virtually that will, give me a creative outlet and introduce some of my friends to other people and stuff like that. And so that's kind of the reason I put this together. So everybody I've talked to, I've just asked them, what are you guys, how are you dealing with the COVID-19 quarantine thing? I mean, everybody, all the entertainers, all the live people I know it's been quite a shock to the system, especially if you're used to, like you guys, perform every single weekend, plus you also do private events as well. So how have you dealt with this, or are you dealing with it?
Okay, well,
we're dealing with it.
Katalina has 1,000 projects.
Okay.
B, we all have projects. We always say we'll get to it when we have time.
Yeah.
And so, quite frankly, I have not been bored, and I can say Katalina has not been bored. We have been working on projects from beginning to end, and still are working on projects.
Well, I mean, there's stuff that are tedious. You want to get them done, but you're like, you kept pushing it off, saying, "I'll get to it later. Well, you don't have an excuse now. So I've been actually going through all of our old footage of videos and images, and I mean, from 20, I found some really old stuff from almost 20 years ago, and you're looking at that and you're like, holy cow, wow, that was crazy. We did that. So I'm actually trying to capture all of it and make sure, I keep it all. And then I'm also writing out the scripts that we used to have, and how some of the scripts have changed over time. So although it's tedious work, it's actually very fun and fascinating to watch how some pieces have developed over time, and some of the things we used to do that we will never do again. Ever. So, and to watch our characters change and
redesigning the stage.
Yeah, we're looking at that. So we came up with a great idea. So
we reupholstered a piece in the show that some pieces that you're like, well, this is work and we have to redo it, but you're always scared to work on pieces of the show. And when I say this, props, because if I mess that prop up, I don't have a prop.
Yeah.
So it was kind of, you feel a little more relaxed. Let me see if I can fix this. If it goes wrong, I got time to cover it. But yeah, we've got a lot of that stuff done.
Yeah.
So, and working on new pieces for when we do open. So it's really endless. The amount of.
I mean, you can keep yourself busy, but I mean, as far as performing, though.
Well, you missed that.
It's interesting to watch some of the other performers doing their online performances.
Yes, it is. I know people. I know there's a lot of opinions about this, and I will tell you this: I've talked to a lot of entertainers, and most of the people I have talked to, they understand that doing things online might be necessary right now. But I don't know of anybody just loves the idea that because you develop a live show to be done for people live. So I know that there's a lot of people that are just like hesitant when it comes to performing online.
Well, but our art is an interactive art.
Right.
And so that, I mean, if you take that element out, it changes it completely. And some people some people just want to perform because they need to perform and they have to do it. So they're going to do it virtually regardless because that's all they have right now. And some people have done it really well and others not so well. But, then again, the learning curve for technology is another issue as well.
That's right.
Yep.
If you're not familiar with how it works, there's a lot of technical difficulties that can happen that can make the performance, unfortunately, just not work.
Right.
So that's a learning curve too.
And I would tell you, I think, especially when I see a lot of the guys who are hitting the birthday party market, I think that's great because there are kids who are gonna, I want to, I think that is fantastic. And I've seen some good examples of that. I think when you start doing the corporate side, it becomes more difficult to tackle that. I'm not going to say it's not impossible. Obviously, there's going to be people are going to be successful, but for Katalina and I, it's not something that interests us. And we have other projects that we're working on, so we'll let the other guys who want to deal with that, all the technology and the learning curve behind that, do it. But yeah, I think it's just another challenge out there, and there's a lot of guys who have done a lot of magic on YouTube, and they understand how to play to a YouTube camera. I mean, look, Katalina and I spent 10 minutes just trying to get the right angle for this interview.
Right.
Right. How do we get the lighting and the angle? And, I'm still not super happy with our lighting, but there's a lot of challenges with an online show.
And we're doing a little bit like we put out a weekly newsletter. We're calling it the Quarantine Chronicles, which we've added some video elements, some fun stuff. So, that's nice to at least to keep people, connected and
keep our clients, aware of us and, that sort of thing. But yeah, we're not trying to attack the online market.
No, look, we'll be back. Interactive Entertainment Live. We'll be back. It's just, figuring out the time when it's going to happen.
Absolutely. So a couple of photographs I found. I thought I would share. The photograph here on the left is what everybody thinks we do when we travel overseas. They think every one of our planes looks like that.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
That
That was from a recent tour that we did. And then let's see here. On the right, we have you guys for performing a show, and this one was for a family audience. We occasionally perform for family audiences. It doesn't happen a ton, but it depends on what base we go to. Oh, check this out.
This was fun. Yeah.
So this is everybody. So here's what's interesting. This is that we're in the desert, and you can see what Katalina does. Here, check this out. Watch this.
You actually have the video? Oh my gosh. Hey, look at that. I got it. Look at that. I got it.
So that's Katalina, and then Christian gets up and he does this.
I think I want to go. It's not going to be as good as these.
No, I know. We should have gone for
You just like lobbing it in there.
There we go.
There you go.
You got it, honey. You got it.
And then Jason gets up and he completely whiffs. So, but over here we have some memories from Egypt. Now what we're doing here on the left is Katalina and I love to go find coffee and tea, and we do that frequently. And then one of the interesting things about going different places is just getting to see the different cultures and obviously we're working most of the time, but occasionally we get out and get to visit, and so this was
they were so sweet.
They're fantastic. Absolutely.
The Egyptians
and then we've got this is another unit visit. This is a little bit more kind of what people expect when they see us. We're near Humvees and meeting people that are, giving us a tour and showing us what their jobs are. On the right, that Operation Magic All-Stars poster is, I think, that says Tiki Bar, January 3rd. I want to say that was from Cuba. Does that sound right to you?
Yeah, that's Guantanamo Bay. Yep.
Yep.
Tiki Bar. That was a
hence,
great
boom,
show.
that's the reason
Yeah.
why I wore this.
That poster's hanging on our wall at home.
Yeah.
That's right. That's awesome. Now, here's what I remember about that tour. So I got the flu, and I was dying. And you guys went up, and so I just barely survived. I basically could barely talk. I went up and did 30 minutes on the stage, and I was like, I can't talk, and I'm going to do my thing. And then you guys and Stephen Bargatze got up and did 30 minutes each, and you guys absolutely destroyed the place. I remember laying in a I was in a trailer, laying on the couch because I was so sick. And y'all, all I heard was with people just losing their minds. And y'all killed it. Speaking of Stephen Bargatze, I just happened to have Stephen Bargatze here.
Oh my God.
Oh, no.
Oh, Jabootylicious. Oh my God.
Jabootylicious.
Oh, that is awesome.
Hey, Stephen.
Steve.
Hey guys, there's a
What's
little.
up?
I've heard a lot of lies on here, so I'm here just to debunk some of it.
You need to debunk some lies. But so if anyone's watching, let me tell you what it's like traveling with Steve.
I
Here's
got my
how it
phone,
goes.
so you.
I got my.
I thought I want you to act so cocky. Why are y'all on here?
Here's what it's like traveling with Steve.
I
At
just
any
want to make
one
my
moment, you'll hear this. Where's my keys? Anybody see my keys? Everything stopped. We got to find my keys. And now there's a mad rush for 20 minutes. And then Steve goes, oh, here they are in my pocket. I got them. Everything's good.
Yeah.
That will happen every day of the tour.
Traveling with a married couple, it's every day he's going, here's honey, put these 20 packages of sweet and low in your purse. Let's steal this. Take stuff. I just found out today that was blood on that plane going in there. I thought it was soup. It's about it made me sick. They eat a lot of Campbell's soup over here. Yeah. I did not have any idea and stuff.
Oh, the tours are great.
Nathan lied, said I only do this so they can meet my friends. But then he talks. This is for 45 minutes with his logo on the side and everything. Follow Jason Michaels. Yeah, but he's just here to meet some friends. But don't about me. But I do have a question, and it's an honest, sincere question that needs to be asked. And I know many people think about this, but rarely get the chance to get serious and ask is, Katalina, why do you need him? I've seen you perform so many times, and every time I'll show you performing, all he does is have people take cards. You're doing all the work. You don't
Steve,
need
look
him.
at him. Look at this face. Look at that.
That's,
Yes.
okay, that's my point.
You like the haircut? I did the haircut.
He's saying, at least he's saying that was good.
No to that. We do get asked a lot on being a married couple performing together, because people always have this idea of like, oh, I want my wife to perform. I'm like, you might not, because A, it's going to test your marriage.
That's true.
Early on, the first couple of years we performed, I was pretty certain one of us was going to die.
For sure.
One of us,
yes.
There's going to be a murder.
Yep.
And you're not going to agree on stuff. And it takes a while to find your boundaries and to find who's in charge of what.
Your lanes. Yep.
And once you establish that, then I think we've been smooth sailing ever since.
If you can get to that point.
Yeah. Every now and then we'll have a disagreement over something.
Yeah, but I know a little bit of the story because Katalina, you didn't have a magic background. So
That's correct. I did not.
He is your magic mentor. So when did it happen and how long did it happen for him to finally go, okay, that's a good idea. I'm not in charge of the magic all the time. That he started trusting you with parts of the show.
You're actually right. That was actually very difficult in the beginning because when he used to perform with Timo Mark in Germany and without the magic background, I would give my input and say, that's not going to work. And then he would ask me, well, why isn't that going to work? And I didn't have a magic, like you said, a magician to look back and say, okay, it's not going to work because this person said this, and this. I just said, I don't know, but it's not going to work. And it got to a point where Timo finally said, whatever Kat says, we're going to do because she's right. And And
wait, I'll tell you the exact moment that happened. Is Timo and I were doing a stage show, and we came up with this great idea where he would hide under the table, and I would lower a napkin and pull the napkin away, and then from under the table he'd put like a glass of wine up, and then I'd do it again, and the whole table would get set magically, and then in the end he would stand up with the table and just walk off stage, and we just thought that was hilarious. And Kat goes, "That's not going to play." I'm like, "Honey, first they're going to be amazed at the magic, and then they're going to laugh when he stands up with the table and carries away." I don't see that working. And we're arguing the point where, like, she doesn't know.
She doesn't know comedy
and entertainment.
That's gold.
And then he stood up, and and the audience was stunned. So if you ever want to do the trick itself, it's great. That person's going to have to stand at the table for a long time. But when he lifted up the table and walked off, the audience hated it. They actually turned on us for a bit.
You have to be honest. They hated you. They hated you. How dare you?
I will tell you, it was that moment that Timo goes, "No, whatever Kat says, we're not doing this anymore." So it took a while.
Yeah.
Kat had some good instincts for knowing what people were going to like as an audience and what they weren't.
Yeah, because she hasn't forgotten what it was like to be a layman. And so often as magicians, we do forget that. We forget that moment of what they're really thinking. And that's what I listened to her. And
thank you, Steve. I appreciate it.
I found out at 4F, you can make fun of Christian all day long, and Oscar and Jason, but you don't touch Christine. No.
No, you guys were on a roll, and then you made fun of Katalina, and the audience just turned on you. But
I loved it. You got to keep going. That was a blast. It was great.
Yeah, making fun of you is like a guy standing up underneath the table and walking off.
Oh, that was crazy. Yeah.
Any favorite stories, Stephen, from traveling with these guys? We've done a couple of tours together, and we had a lot of fun. Just really, and I appreciate you introducing me to them in the first place. I remember when you told me, "Hey, I've got some people that you really should take with you. You'll really get along well with them," and you nailed it.
Yeah, if I think hard enough, I don't believe I've ever told you somebody that was wrong. You've taken a couple people that. And it might not have worked out all right, but if I highly recommended them, no, I just because of their background in the service, I thought it would be that they would definitely have an insight. I know that the act, most of the time people don't realize traveling over there. There was a lot of good acts.
Yeah.
And there's people that there's no doubt I know you can entertain. But it's so much more than that. It's the hanging out with each other. It's that downtime, and there's a lot of it. It's the ability to be pushed when you're dead tired and you have to go down and see these soldiers who are excited to show you what they want, and that willingness to go, "I'm going to do it." I knew they had all that. But when I knew that they'd been in the service, it must mean something. Well, it was like I was in a different language watching them perform. They're using Army terms, and they don't say names; they say numbers. He's an E5 walked up to an OF, and they said everybody dies laughing. I don't know what they're talking about, but it's funny. It works, and I don't. A lot of times, I'll be honest. My biggest criticism was a lot of times Jason thinks that I have to go last. I hate it following you guys because but in a way it was good too. Because you got them rolling and laughing and everything like that. I think you guys are fantastic. And I'd go with you. My wife would, this next one that's coming up, and maybe Oscar's going to get to go. And, me and her are not talking right now because she lost her mind just thinking, we know it's going to be safe over there. They're going to take care of you and they're going to make sure. But it's just that flight over and that flight back that's what scares her. Mm-hmm. And you might not notice this, but I have a lot of the criteria that they're trying to looking out for. And when
you're 109,
yeah, I'm 109. This is really hard to believe, but I'm a little overweight. And yeah, but I can name some of the other stuff. But
well, look, she's going to make sure you protect yourself and you're safe when you're flying over there.
but
Yes.
well, no, she's not letting me go. I mean, she locked the door. I told Jason
Oh,
I was going, and for 2 days she wouldn't come out of her room and wouldn't talk to me. She told my kids on me. Grandma calling me up saying, "You can't do this. You got to be the grandfather. We want you around. You can't go over there." So I said, "Nope, nope, nope. I'm out." And he was lucky enough, I think, to get Oscar. And
well, you know what? Good. You know what? I don't blame her. She wants to make sure you're safe.
okay,
So-
now that's good. Now let's hear the real point. At the same time, her best friend has a cruise booked, and her husband, he's like me, and he goes, "I'm not going." And she goes, "Well, we gotta go. I've already paid for the cruise." And then
Uh-oh.
and my wife goes, "I'll go with you." The same time that I was going to go.
She
So
doesn't want you to have fun.
I've got the door locked. I ain't coming out for 3 days. I'm so mad. I was just like, "How dare you take me off of this? And you're going to a cruise is
Oh,
10 nights
no.
more than a plane ride."
Oh gosh, that's
I
hilarious.
knew where I was going with you because that's the one thing about the Iraq and all that stuff. I broke Jason in. So me and Jason went on the first one together, and we learned everything what not to do and what doing. Jason almost. If I survived that one, I can survive anything.
Yeah.
Well,
And
remember,
that was still one of the wildest ones. I mean, we went so many places and had so many weird, wild experiences. I've never gone on another tour that had so many just changes from black mambas to, literally everything you can think of. And you're like, how did we keep seeing all this incredible stuff? Yeah, that was a wild one.
and remember in Cuba, Stephen didn't get sick. Remember, Steve, you were the only one out of all of us that didn't get sick.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
I got sick. Y'all got sick. Steven, no problem.
Nope. No
I
problem.
broke a tooth, had to go to the dentist
Oh,
in
that's right, you
Guantanamo
did.
Bay.
Yeah.
That was, we loved Guantanamo Bay. It was a blast, but we avoided death by just a hair. and then the guy who should be first on the list for death is just walking around like nothing.
Was it Guantanamo Bay that we were in that little closet in the back behind the stage?
No, that was Honduras.
Yeah, that was Honduras.
I mean, it wasn't. You couldn't turn around. You had two people in just a long, skinny hallway. And that was our
Okay,
dressing
call
room.
it what it was. It was the green room.
Yeah, definitely.
It was also the storage room.
It was the storage room too. We glamorized that one.
That's the true reality.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's always fun to go with you guys. You guys are fantastic, and I just sometimes wish you had more work so you wouldn't have to do so many, and you could stay home.
Well, yeah.
It's Indianapolis. How much work is there? Once you knock out a couple of the ice cream socials, you're done.
Yeah, it was great.
Well, cool. Well, good stuff. Man, thank you for joining us, Stephen. We're going to start wrapping up here. Appreciate you being here and participating.
Kat, you already know I was a vegetarian for 6 weeks. I could do it again. I and stuff. I can learn. I can take orders. If you ever want to trade him in, my wife's not talking to me.
She loves you. We know it. Stay healthy, Steve.
All right, guys.
See you
Thanks.
soon.
Thanks,
See you later,
Jay.
buddy.
Bye, Steve.
Yeah, a little surprise for you.
That was nice. How sweet.
Yeah, I figured he would. He's about 1 million times funnier than I'll ever be, and so I was like, that would be a good idea. Yeah, let's. I'm just kind of looking
I
here.
got to tell one story about you.
What's that?
So, I got to tell one story about you.
All right, give it to me.
So when we were, when you had us come out and the first time, and really that was the first, so we had talked once on the phone many years before, but we'd gone out with you. This is our first time going out on a tour with you. And I remember we're setting up, I don't remember where it was exactly, but what people have to understand is you do this great card act called the Card Sharp, and it's a lot of sleight of hand and good card magic. And we're watching you set up you're going to do the whole show with video, or your portion of it, with the video and the screen and everything.
A live video feed.
Right.
Yeah.
And Catalina and I had seen people do this so many times, and not once have we seen someone pull it off well. Either the screen is fuzzy and you can't make out cards, or they don't know how to work with the screen. And it's just, and we were like, oh, this is, because, you don't want to be on tour with somebody you think, oh, he's terrible.
Right.
And so the thing that impressed us so much after your first performance was, A, you obviously did your homework and knew what equipment to bring. It was simple. It works. It worked every single time that we were on tour with you. It's clear. Right? Every time we've looked at that.
Yeah, the only time it didn't work when you were using someone else's equipment.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's when it didn't work. But your equipment always worked.
Always worked. You always had clear definition. You knew if it was a heart, a diamond, whatever. Everything was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, you knew how to work. So the video assisted you, but wasn't like you hid behind it. And after that first performance, Kat and I looked at each other and went, holy, this guy is really good. Mm-hmm. And so that was, for us, so much fun to see someone actually have mastered this video that we've seen kick so many people's butts.
And to be able to, travel with it. That is
well, except in
the cable. I know.
Cable. Where you remember that?
They took it. They took the cable.
Your $50 cable
You mean
got thrown away right in front of you.
Oh my gosh, at the airport is awful.
You mean that garrote that I carried along with me?
Yes. Where you were going to be garroting people with that $50 cable, and they picked it up in front of you and literally dropped it in the trash can.
I think that was somewhere in Southwest Asia. And I remember we're at the airport and they're like, we have to look in your bag, and I'm doing my best to understand what they're saying, and they're doing their best to communicate with me in English. And they're looking through all my stuff, and they find this 50-foot HDMI cable, which is just a cable that you plug in to get video signal from the camera to the projector. And the guy's like, yeah, he's holding this and he's like saying something to me, and I'm like, yeah, it's a video camera. It's a video cable. And he goes, and it's like, yeah, it's a video cable. What he's saying to me is, you can't have this. I didn't understand what he was saying. And then he takes it, and finally he's like, there's your bag. I'm keeping this. And I was like, what? The thing that made me mad was that I had just bought, this is a brand new cable, and I got one of those expensive ones to make sure that like it had all the like gold like wiring and all that stuff. And then he's like, he has it, and he throws it in the trash can. And I was not.
You had a meltdown. It was. I think it was the fact that they threw it in the trash can right in front of you. Like, here's $50. We're just going to throw it in the trash can right in front.
Well, speaking of things that they're throwing in the trash can, why don't you tell them about the bowling ball that they threw in the trash can?
I was thinking about that.
Well, wait, but here's what we learned on that particular, because we one trip we tried to take a bowling ball, which turned into a nightmare. We'll never do that again.
Because it could be a weapon.
But wait, in that one airport you're at, remember how random they were? Because Scott was with us, Scott Cantrell.
Yeah.
And they were like, I think they just reached in and whatever they grabbed, they thought, well, this can't go. Like, I think for Scott, it was like some shaving cream or a bar of soap or something. They're like, nope, in the trash. Here's something else. We don't know what it is. In the trash. And we're just like, why is this stuff not?
Wasn't that the same plane where we actually had silverware that was real silver on the plane, fork and knife?
Oh, yes, that's
remember
right.
that? So, yeah, it was
because that's where Jason had a meltdown. So I can't have a garrote, but I can have a real metal knife.
Right. Yeah, that international travel thing will test you all day long.
Yes, it will.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
No. So we'll like I said, we're going to wrap up, but tell the story about the bowling ball, because that was I want to say that was in Honduras. And I remember she made me mad. This one woman took my scissors, which the scissors were like this big. The full pair of scissors were this big, but the cutting part was this big. These were $50 fabric scissors that I had just bought. And she takes them and says, you can't have these. And I'm like, it's less than 3 inches. I can have those. She goes, nope, you can't have them. Throws them in the trash can. I almost lost my mind.
Honduras was very strict. I think one of the strictest places because of that and the bowling ball.
So what's the story of the bowling ball?
The story was we decided to do the bowling ball piece in the show. And I decided the best way to...
Just hold on. Let me throw this out there. The bowling ball thing is very, it's not, if you're a magician and you're watching this, it's not the bowling ball trick that you think. So there's
it's a unique
have in
twist.
mind that they think you're doing a specific bowling ball trick that is very popular, and it is not that trick.
No.
So I just want to put that
And
out.
it's not the Kevin James thing or anything. It's a totally different take on it. But I decided that the best way to take it would be in a backpack. Don't even put it in the luggage, because someone's going to think, it could be a big bomb or something. Who has a round bowling ball in their luggage? So I'll just have it so people can see, oh, it's a bowling ball, and you get through, which was no problem until we got to Honduras. And so the guy stops me, and we're going through the back and forth, and he's saying, you can't bring this. I said, dude, it's a bowling ball. Why can I bring this? And then he picks up and he shows you it's a club. It's a club? Yeah, you could knock somebody out with it. I guess. I mean, I could use anything. Really? And so now I had to run. Remember that? You went with me. We sprinted all the way back
to the counter
and put a sticker on it so it would get in the checked-in baggage.
Yeah. All right. I have no idea why Steven did this, but he logged back in. So let me see what he wants to add to this conversation. Was there something you wanted to say?
Yeah, that I'm old and I couldn't get Facebook to work, so I couldn't hear you. So I had to go back. I just wanted to get back and hear the end.
Oh, okay.
And I'll tell you what he did was not run. It might have looked like it wasn't O.J. Simpson in the airport going back. They both barely made it. That made that plane back. But I just thought,
true.
how funny him to yell at you about a little wire cable, which you could buy another one. He was never going to find that bowling ball again. That was a one-time bowling ball. And Honduras was going to have it.
This is coming from the guy who travels with a ATA case the size of a Buick. So everywhere we go, we have to wait for oversized baggage. Where's the oversized baggage? And it's always in the back area of some terminal where people get mugged.
That case also spent 3 months in Djibouti in a cave.
There's truth in that statement.
Yep.
That was a hint for you, Stephen.
And he didn't
take it. He didn't take it.
That's right. So last couple of things, I did have a photograph here where it's the waterfall hike ends here, and I just wanted to go ahead and put the address. If you check out my website and look at the blog, if anybody is interested in the story of what the trip was like to Thule, Greenland that we were talking about, it's just a kind of a travel log, so to speak. You're welcome to.
Where's our certificates for the polar bear plunge?
You know what? I'm gonna have to talk to Joy about that. We never got them.
All right, Jason, you're on record now. You got to ask Joy. We got to get those. That was crazy.
Joy just sent me an email today, so I'll have to send her a note and be like, "Hey, about that, yeah, I'll see what I can find."
That'd be awesome.
All right. Well, let's see here. We're going to let's see here. Let me just we'll bounce it back. All right. And let me see if there's anything left else that I wanted to chat about. I think we're pretty. There's one or two more things, but I'm gonna hold on to those until next week because it doesn't specifically have to do with our stories and adventures, and so I'll hold on to that. I was gonna do a little talk on resilience, but we'll talk on that at next week's episode number 9. And takeaways from today's episode include. Meeting Christian and Katalina, so I hope everybody enjoyed them there. I know that my mom was very happy to meet you guys virtually because I have told tons of stories. She knows Steven, and now she knows you guys. Hi,
Mom.
Yep, there you go. There we go. We enjoyed a video of you guys performing at a unit visit, heard some great stories from life on the road, and we will discuss gratitude next week. And that is it for episode number 8. Was there anything else you guys wanted to share before we wrap it up?
I hope we get to see you guys soon. We miss you guys. So
we're gonna. The next time. Hey, Steven. So Steven's here. We need to go ahead and set a date as soon as we can, where we take some golf clubs up to Indianapolis and smack a ball around for a while.
Let's do it. That'd be awesome.
Why don't we invite them down to our club?
Good. Oh yeah, we have you don't know this, but Stephen and I joined a club, and so yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it
Must
was
be
like
nice to be the 1%.
it was $163 for 3 years, and it's worth every
Really?
penny.
Yeah, it
Well,
doesn't. It doesn't.
It's the price is right for the course.
Scott says Caddy.
We've been there. We've been there. We get that. All right, Scott says he'll caddy. Let's do it, Scott. That
Scott is in. Scott, I can play. He can knock the ball around a little bit.
Jason has an empty bedroom that Oscar and his wife slept on, so that you guys can, if they, you guys can go take that bed and stay with Jason, stay isolated. Tennessee, we're opening up a little bit. Our golf courses are open.
We are.
Jason lives in Hendersonville, and we went to 3 days ago. We went there to a restaurant that was like 25% people, and so we went and sat down and ate. So there, his little county. You can't do that in Nashville, but you can do it up where Jason lives.
Okay.
Yeah, same with us. It's tiered. So
Yeah.
Indianapolis, most area, not yet.
Golf
but-
course is open in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
We're already open. Come on down while we can beat your socks.
All right. This has been
Driving
fun,
range.
gang. Thank you very much. We hope to see you guys again soon. If anybody wants to keep up with this show, you can check it out jasonmichaelsmagic.com/JM-TV. Shoot me an email if you want to tell me about the episode or anything else like that. And a big thank you to my guests. We will see you guys again soon. Take care of yourselves and be safe out there.
Bye, Kat. Bye, Jason. Thanks.
Bye.